Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the other side of the coin and welcome to your latest Chelsea video. Not necessarily news, there's not much that's popping off, but something that is very, very interesting for us is facing Liverpool next weekend. And look, they've won. They've won the Premier League. Congratulations to all the Liverpool fans out there. Congratulations to Liverpool for winning the Premier League title for season 24-25. And do you know what? I didn't have them winning the league at the start of the Premier League season. I actually thought it's going to be between Arsenal and Manchester City. Really, Arsenal the favorite. So we've congratulated Liverpool. Now it's to similarly to mud Arsenal Football Club as well. Suck shit, absolutely, Arsenal Football Club. I mean, look at what the process has given them. Nada. It's given them nada. This is the season where they were primed to take the Premier League season by storm. But Liverpool out of nowhere, RKO out of nowhere with Arne Slot in his first season. Arne Slot in his first season proving all of this process nonsense is just buzzwords. These are just buzzwords. If you've got the right players, if you've got the right balance, if you've got the right mentality, you've got a manager that is focusing on the finer details, not really tweaking too much. Because ultimately, look, don't get me wrong. Yes, under Arne Slot, Liverpool have been playing differently, of course, but it's not completely different to the sense that everything that they've done under Jurgen Klopp was just decimated. No, they've left certain parts of Jurgen Klopp's style, but they've also included certain parts of Arne Slot's flavoring as well in terms of controlling game, in terms of when to up the tempo. So look, as I said, fantastic news for Liverpool. Big up to you guys. Enjoy your whole week, drink up, get absolutely wasted. You deserve it. Party every single night. Don't worry about any training because what do you have to gain from it anymore? You're not in the Champions League. You're not in any of the domestic cups. You've won the Premier League that you've badly wanted. The last one was under COVID restrictions. This one proper with your fans. So enjoy it. Lap it up, man. I expect all of these players to do a no-show all throughout the week. Don't worry about training. Don't worry about, keeping yourself in best shape because I want you guys next weekend. This is a good news for Chelsea Football Club, ladies and gentlemen. This is why I wanted to talk about this. I wanted Spurs to open up their legs and let me put the thug in you. Thug in me, let me put the thug in you. Big up to Tupac, and Liverpool absolutely put the thug in Spurs. Spurs, big up to Spurs. Big up to Big Ange for allowing such a slapping. This is exactly what I wanted. Prior to the match, I wanted Spurs to get decimated, and they've absolutely got decimated. They made it a little bit tasty by getting that initial goal, but then they stayed true. They stayed true to their, to their personality this season. They stayed true to, their rubbishness this season. I don't know how Big Ange is still in the job. I think it's purely because of the Europa League situation. But even if they do end up winning the Europa League, I fully expect Ange Postecoglou to get sacked because this season for Spurs has been an absolute abysmal. But big up to Spurs for doing the right foot, for doing the needful, allowing Liverpool to win, which is great news for us. Why? Why is it great news? Look, we've got Liverpool next up, ladies and gentlemen. And in our final four fixtures, Liverpool, Newcastle, Man United, and Nottingham Forest. We'll get to Nottingham Forest because that's probably not the best news for us today. But we're going to focus on Liverpool, which is the next match for us. And it's good that Liverpool won the Premier League. I expect Liverpool to party all this weekend and then come next weekend against us. All of these players that you're seeing in the picture, Mohamed Salah, Virgil van Dijk, Alisson, McAllister, all of these, I expect you guys to have a break. Think about holidays. Think about where you want to go next up. the next holiday destination. Take an extended break, because next season you're going to have to defend your title. And boy, other teams are going to strengthen up. So next weekend, we have everything to play for. I believe, now, I don't know, looking at the fixtures, Nottingham Forest got quite a few winnable matches. I believe even Aston Villa have got some winnable matches. For me, look, Man City and Newcastle are probably, they are there. You know what I mean? Like they're not going to be moved on. They are well engraved nicely in those third and fourth positions. It's that fifth position that we really need to concentrate on. And as I said, we have everything to play for. If we can keep most of our players nice and fit, no one gets injured for that Djurgården match. I wouldn't even consider Romeo Lavia for that match. Keep Romeo Lavia for Liverpool, and hopefully Liverpool can come into that match all drunk, all partied up, and not a single, case of caring for that match. I'm hoping because what's Liverpool got to prove in that match? Nothing. You've won the Premier League. We, on the other hand, we have everything riding on it. If we can get a victory against Liverpool, get a draw against Newcastle, and then get a win against Man United and Nottingham Forest, I think it's all going to come down to that Nottingham Forest last game. I fully believe everything is going to come down to that Nottingham Forest. However, we must beat Liverpool. We must. I don't think it's going to cut it if we get a draw against Liverpool. I can't see how we beat Newcastle at St. James's Park, and Newcastle going for Champions League positions as well. And they've got an ace striker in the likes of Isak. Overall, their team is solid. I can see ourselves beating Man United, but then again, you never know. Man United should be focused on Europa League. This is what it comes down to. Yes, we haven't been in our best form, and we haven't been playing our best football, but we've been, in the last couple of matches, we've been squeezing victories, and that's what we've got to hope for at the moment. Most of our players are not in the best of forms. So we need all these other teams to falter for us. Liverpool should be all partied up. Newcastle, I think, will be difficult. Man United should be thinking of Europa League. So we should be hopefully getting a victory against Liverpool, at least a draw against Newcastle, a win against Man United. So that's 6 + 1, 7 points. And then it all comes down to that final fixture against Nottingham Forest. Away from home, not going to be easy. But hopefully by that time, a draw will be good enough to get ourselves into that fifth position. But then again, as I said, Aston Villa have got some winnable fixtures as well, and they're out of everything too. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me know. For me, I think this is fantastic that Liverpool have gone and won the league. Big up to you guys. Now stay drunk. Stay drunk and arrive drunk at Stamford Bridge. That's what I am asking for. The other news, ladies and gentlemen, which is probably not so good for us, Nottingham Forest, ladies and gentlemen, have been knocked out of the FA Cup semi-finals by Manchester City. Manchester City, slowly, they've turned their season around to a certain level, to a dignified level. Still not good enough for their standards, of course. They look like they're going to secure Champions League football. They're going to secure that third position, and they look like they're potentially going to win the FA Cup as well. Crystal Palace in the final. You never know what Crystal Palace are going to be capable of. But not that long ago, Manchester City took Crystal Palace to the cleaners. So we shall see what happens there. One-off game, final. Anything is possible. And I'm going to be cheering for Crystal Palace. Want them to get some level of European football. The FA Cup final, the winner for the FA Cup gets a European spot in the Europa League. So that'll be fantastic for Crystal Palace. But it's bad news that Nottingham Forest have been knocked out, because now they're going to be fully focused on the Premier League. They're also out from the domestic cups. They don't have any Europe. Premier League is the only thing they have to focus on. And they've been predominantly in that third position all throughout this season, except now in these final moments, they're faltering. Now they're fully going to be focused on the Premier League, which for me is a worry. Just like Liverpool, I'm hoping is not going to be a worry. Nottingham Forest, I think, will be a worry. They're going to throw the entire kitchen sink in their final fixtures. I think they've got Brentford coming up later this, next week, starting. Well, the week has started for me. I'm on Monday. And then some of their fixtures, it looks like they should be able to get victories. And now even more so that they're going to be focused on getting some level of European positions. And they're not going to leave it for Manchester City to win the FA Cup. And if, Nottingham Forest do end up coming sixth, they get Europa League anyway. But they're not going to leave it for Manchester City. They're going to try and secure the European positions in terms of Champions League, which is better than Europa. They're going to try and do that on their own. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me know your thoughts about everything we've spoken about. Are you concerned about the Liverpool fixture that's coming up? Are you concerned about Nottingham Forest being knocked out from the FA Cup? How are you seeing things? Do you give Chelsea Football Club any chance to make it to Champions League football? Do you feel we have some form of momentum growing, building to get into the Champions League positions? Let me know your thoughts. If you've missed out on the earlier stream today, do check that out. I've been away for the last few days on a little getaway. Now I'm fully back again, refreshed, enjoying, enjoyed the holiday a lot, and now also appreciating the time back as well. Let me know your thoughts about everything that we've spoken about. Smash up the like button if you're here for the first time. Subscribe, hit the bell notification to stay in touch with all my content. Till next time, take care. See ya. Bye.